Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1 World Championship. We're today for the Singapore Grand Prix. Ran 5 already out of 16. We're looking for a good one here. A lovely night race, a street circuit as well. We've got everything in store today. We have Jacob and Jack looking to set their first lap of the session. They're very, very quick in time trial. The quickest once again. Let's see if they can nab pole. Of course, they missed out for the first time back in Imola from Wesley Caspers. So let's see if that's going to change anything. Who will be on the ball today? Looks pretty tidy so far from Jacob. Will go on board, getting as close to the wall as he possibly can. So he taps the inside curb, which I'm not sure how much you'd want to do, but they do it just about. Very, very tight to the wall. They actually hesitate on turning afterwards, which loses them a minor amount of time if we're really being picky. Gets into the hairpin, takes a slightly inside line. You kind of have to do that, otherwise you lock up the brakes and it goes all weird. It just goes all weird. But now at the end of the next DRS straight, lovely stuff. Gets it nice and turned in. Don't tap the inside curb too much. And into the final few technical sections, I guess. Riding that inside curb, actually, which usually chucks you off. You've got guys low retire from the session. But Jacob gets through the rest of the circuit. Looks good so far. Got a car moving out the way. And that is, guys, just retired car, I believe it is. Now they come around the final few corner, not phased by that at all. What's it going to be? They go up the hill. Wesley Caspers sets the pole pace, but it's not enough. And 36.1 goes Jacob Adams-Jack. And that is 3 tenths ahead of Wesley Caspers right now. Dreaming P3 with a 36.8. And then we have Sir Nidem in P4 with 37.2. So quite a big gap between Sven and Dream right there. We've got a bit more time to gain from the rest of the cars. And of course, more people to jump up. Zingy goes P4, 37.0. Yes, some may say it's called Zingy Paw. Of course, winning the last few races here. Very, very good and very dominant around this circuit. Dry or wet conditions, especially in the last game where he actually had the world record in the dry and wet momentarily for both conditions, yeah. And unfortunately, he doesn't seem to be quite there on time trial at least, but he's still... Alrighty. Sorry for the delay. Just trying to sort something out a minute. I don't know if we can go on board with anybody who's about to do a lap. But other than that, I think we'll just have to plonk it on with Benjamin as he's about to start one. And yeah, I do just have to quickly sort something out. So I do apologise for the delay. But this shouldn't take long. Benjamin starts the lap now. Let's watch on board. Sorry for the delay. I will be right back very, very shortly. Right, so we're good to go, hopefully. And unfortunately, David looking like they have problems once again with their wheel. Maybe we can see that get fixed as Benjamin makes a mistake, unfortunately. Smoke everywhere. This isn't going to be a competitive lap, but still, they might get a lap in or they might just go into the pit lane. Actually, already down to 10 minutes left of the session, so that's actually gone pretty quickly. We'll have to see how that goes in a little bit. We got Jacob on an out lap. Who else is going to get onto a lap a little bit sooner? We've actually got, is that Captain Forgy going multiple times on the same tyre, which is very, very interesting. One guy that we do have to mention is Nifojan. Nifojan, they do have a tyre penalty, so they're going to have to serve that strategically. So Nifo will be coming out in a little bit, I assume. But they'll have to go back in and then use the same tyre as soon as they leave, of course. Captain Forgy does get a lap in. They just wanted to get a banker lap in before going into the pit lane. So now they've got a little bit of reassurance, finally getting that first lap in, and they can push a little bit later on. Now, we do have Dream on a lap right now. They're coming towards the start or end of it. We'll have to see. Of course, a lovely bug from the game that's recently occurred. DRS available, and it is a lap that we will start with Dream as he goes to turn 1, keeps it as wide as he possibly can to open it, turn the car in, but try and straighten up the wheel as much as you possibly can, bring it really as far to the left here, go over that curb, just a dab of that curb on the inside as well, just kind of ride the inside a little bit, but you don't want to mount it completely. Now down the DRS straight, this is going to be the most popular place to overtake. We get to the end of it, riding that inside one and then to the outside one. That's how you're going to maintain that highest minimum speed, of course. The purple middle sector for Dream right now. Of course, the winner of the Canadian Grand Prix right here as they get towards the, well, old Singapore sling. Now down to the hairpin. They got to prepare themselves for this one. Across the bridge they go. Bring it as far right as they possibly can without hitting that barrier. DRS available for the final time, and then they will head to the next ending of the DRS straight once again. Just about misses that apex. That's pretty standard actually, otherwise it can chuck you off a little bit. Now you just got to trail brake the car through, keep it smooth. Are they going to ride the inside curve? Yes, they will. That's going to be really tricky. It might chuck you out on the right hand side again. Misses that inside curve, interestingly. Don't know if that was an accident or strategic. We'll have to see if it's going to improve their time and how much by. If so, comes around the final few corners now. Looks good so far. Just got to keep it tidy and within track limits as they head to the final corner. Keeping it as wide as they can, and it is an improvement up to a 36.4, but it's not enough to catch up to Jacob Adamczak as he is 2 tenths ahead still. He's on a lap right now as well. We'll watch on board with the current pole sitter looking to try and defend himself right now. We've got Quebus. I don't know if Quebus just set a lap or if they've just started. I think they've just set that lap, and they push themselves into P4. They have a McLaren. Is that of Ruleton about to start a lap, or it is Benjamin going for another lap? I'm not quite sure, but still, Jacob, there's a bit of smoke. I'm not quite sure if that's just the game glitching out a little bit, but they come around the final corner now. What's it gonna be? They'll still get one more lap after this one. And it is gonna be a 35.8, a lovely improvement there. Awesome job for him. He's now 8 tenths ahead of the entire field. Looking for a very, very good pole right now. Let's see if he can convert that into a race win. Of course, winning in Italy, into Monza. And, yeah, not had the best luck after that. However, still, the Drivers' Championships being led by their teammate and the Constructors being led by Mercedes themselves. Both by 1 point, actually, the Drivers and the Constructors. So that's something to look at. We've got Sven Nydam a 36.5, so he didn't improve. If he's going for another lap, I think he might be, maybe not. I don't quite know. We won't be able to tell until we get to the end of the first sector. We'll have to see, because this part is pretty flat out, I will admit. As they go across the sector line, and it's not going to be a lap. They're just taking an in lap at the moment. Who else can we go on board with? Quibus is going to the pit lane right now. Then we have Ruleton, who we could go on board with. Just checking. Sorry, a minute. And then we should be good to go. Alrighty. Now, Ruleton on a lap returns to the scene of LSI F1. They won, of course, back in the Netherlands. Half points only awarded for that one, but they still took their first win. That was 10 points for them, so they off a little bit of a disadvantage, I guess you could say. A purple sector for them in the middle. I remember last time, or not last time, but the time before, we saw Ruleton racing around here, and he had an amazing start. It was cut short by a crash at the end of the second DRS straight, third DRS straight, unfortunately. But right now, looking tidy so far. How much is it going to be improvement by? That is the question. Riding that inside curve, actually bottoming out, and they decide to go into the pit lane after all. So they're not going to set this lap time. People are going to be careful of that pit entry. It's very difficult around here. Captain 4G once again goes around, and it's going to be a 4/10 improvement, but I don't think that pushed them up any positions. They're very close to the back of Ruleton, but that almost the end of their session there, as they just go a little bit too harshly on the throttle, and that's going to be something that we have to watch out for the race, of course, when we make those pit stops, and everybody is going to be on cold tyres, of course. So we'll have to wait and see. Is Davin on a lap? Yes, they are. They're back in the session. Great to see them here. Of course, we've seen them in the past few races of the season so far. They've been very, very good in qualifying. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked out for them in the race. Of course, last race as well, they disconnected for a while, and that has ended up in them being classed as disconnected, so they didn't actually score any points back in Imola. So they're looking for some points today, if they can possibly get any. We're on board, but is that I don't know. I think they might be struggling for force feedback, or that might just be their AI. No, it's not. I don't quite know. Benjamin's been disqualified for blocking the pit entry as he makes a mistake, and he will be starting in P17 after all of that. That is not ideal at all. Whoopsie daisy for Benjamin. We have lots of people not setting lap times. Nifo finally starts their run. They're going to try and get 2 runs out of this as they enter turn 1. Let's see what Nifo can do. Very, very close to track limits right there, as they have a car on their left-hand side as they exit the pit lane. We will keep on board with Nifo, but I wanted to say, yeah, Robbo, Davin, Dougie Falcons haven't set lap times yet. There's a lot of traffic up ahead right now for Nifo. He's not keen on that, of course, being impeded in the last round, of course, by PJ. But right now, hopefully, they don't have the same thing. They've got a car up ahead, which is extremely distracting. They move out the way. It's not ideal, of course. It's still extremely distracting, but right now he's alright to go, and he will get another lap in. He'd probably just have to back out of this one if he wasn't happy with it, but there is a risk, of course, if he does so. Now, into the hairpin, very, very close to the wall right there. Onto the throttle, can't really tell with the audio glitch, of course, but it looks like a pretty good lap so far. Let's see what they can do. Few more corners to go into the third and final sector. The 90-degree corners are coming up next as they go ahead towards the tunnel, riding that inside curve really, really tight. That's the first time we've seen it being ridden that tight, and they clout the wall. I think they've just about got away with it. Bit of oversteer on the exit as they just try and compose themselves after that one. Again, a little bit of oversteer, but they come around the final corner now. What's it gonna be? Is it gonna be competitive? It's a P6, so that's not too bad after all. They're gonna have to do a cool down lap if they want to get another one in, but I think that's too late, and Nifo will only be able to set that lap and that lap only. So that is over for Nifo. Lots of drivers out on track right now, of course, for the final stages of qualifying, riding that curve like it's not even there as it goes zingy. As we head through the hairpin, looks good for them right now, looks tidy. Is it an improvement? We'll head into Sector 3 and find out if it is. And it's up by just almost 3/10. I think we can get to a 3/10 mark, maybe even 4 if they can push a little bit more, of course. You can gain a lot of time around this circuit. If they can get the 3/10, it's going to be only 1 position ahead, of course. So they've actually got to gain a lot here. Robbo retires from the session on the exit. Is that turn 9, I think? So unfortunately, Robbo's out. They will not set a lap time, and that's where they will begin the race. Then he comes around the final corner. What's it going to be? And it's going to be a 7/10 improvement, and we're looking at a possible Mercedes 1-2. But once again, look at the gap between Jacob Adamczak. That's absolutely incredible. Captain Forgy will not set another lap. Dougie Falcons did not get a lap in after all. We've got Dream on a lap. I think they're behind Jacob Adamczak. We'll watch on board to see the current poleman try and fight for the pole position, but he's crashed. He's crashed. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Wesley Caspers is going to be distracted by that one a little bit, but they managed to maintain the composure through the final sector as they go through running. It's like a little bit of a correction, but is it going to be enough to try and challenge for pole position here at Singapore? Across the line they go, and it's not going to be enough after all that. A 36.2, he does deny a Mercedes 1-2. Will Dream improve? They will not improve enough to get another position, but it was worth a shot. Ben Neidham goes across the line, and that's a P5 in the end. Not able to get to their teammate, but still, that's not a bad way to end qualifying. Nifo had that one chance. They didn't time it right to get 2 opportunities, but they still got a lap in at least. That's a P7 in the end after all of that, as of course they got demoted by Zingy jumping into P3, and Ruleton in P8, Castle Sky and Cisco in P10. So what a grid we have. Wesley Caspers just missing out on Jacob Adamczak as Jacob crashes into the wall, retiring from the session. And yeah, that was an interesting one, but well done to Jacob to take pole position right there. Alrighty, sorry for the delay. We will just be waiting for the session to end. We've got Casper Sky just about to retire, and then we will see. We will see. Alrighty. We're nearly there, just waiting for that timer to go down. We got Quibus, who we're waiting on to retire from the session, and then we'll be good to go. We'll head to the race. Formation lap is off, remember? So as soon as we restart the stream, we will be racing immediately. Taking a bit of time, I do apologise. Alright, well, we'll consider... Let's have a quick talk about the strategy now. We're probably going to be starting all on the hard tyres. Maybe some people will try and get the jump on the medium tyres earlier on. If you're really feeling like a madman, you want to go onto the softs, but you're not going to have long on them. Jacob Adamczak takes pole position. Wesley Caspers in P2. Then we have Zingy in P3. Let's have a look at the rest of the grid, and then we will be back for the Singapore Grand Prix. Hold your breath and clench your butt cheeks. Ready, hold. Go! Who's gonna get it? Lights out and into turn one we shall go. Jacob Edderjack takes pole position, has to defend to the inside, looking for a 3-wide moment. And Ziggy is gonna take the lead in the Grand Prix already as he tries his best to fight his way around the outside. Jacob once again struggling off the start, trying to salvage it, but it's not enough. Jacob fights his teammate as his teammate still goes defensive, wants to maintain that lead. You can see the man in the lead with a purple helmet, and he's leading by a little bit of a margin, side by side as they go to the end of the first. DRS made a lock up ahead, and Ziggy still maintains the position, goes defensive because he really wants it, but now compromises his teammate, and that's Wesley Caspers going through for P2 to the outside. There's contact, and oh no, Jacob Adderjab puts Wesley Caspers in the wall. Wesley Caspers has no front wing, and what the hell just happened? Wesley Caspers trying his best to carry on, but right now that is going to be extremely infuriating, and Wesley Caspers into the wall. What just happened? What just happened? I don't believe it. That's Ruleton with a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. Zingy leads the way. Nifajan in P2, Jacob Adashak in P3. And who was that? The Dreams left the session. Did they have contact or not? I don't quite know. But what just happened there? I don't know. That was a very strange one. Dream leaves the session. Don't think they have damage. They left the session last time around in Imola, of course, with that disconnect. But yeah, that was a very interesting situation to be in. Zingy still leads the way. Nifo up to P2 after all of that. Does Jacob have damage? They did have a bit of a shunt, but looks like it's so far no on the visuals, of course, but Zingy is leading the way by a nice gap right now. Then we have Quibus in P4, followed by Cisco, who's made it all the way up to P5. Dream joins back the session. Dougie Falcon starting right at the back up to P6 off the line. Robbo as well doing a very similar thing to Dougie. Then we have Dream in P8 reconnecting to the session. Hopefully they can get back into this and back into a rhythm. We got Dave and Geisler followed closely by both Joseph and Captain 4G right behind them, and then we have Benjamin, Sven Nydam, so both Alpines really struggling off the start. Ruleton serving that drive-through penalty already, and Casper Sky in P16 rounding off the back of the grid. We've got Nifo, who does have Jacob for pressure, but Jacob doesn't quite seem to be there in the corners. Let's watch on board and see about the straight line speed. Who has the advantage right here? No one really. It looks like it's maybe even Nifo advantage, but I don't quite know other than that. It's it is what it is. It's a strange situation to be in, and Zingy leads the race 1.6 seconds, maintaining it, loses it a little bit, but might be able to gain it back on the exit here. We'll have to see. Zingy is one of those drivers that usually tries to aim for the time gained, not on the brakes, but on the exits, of course, and he does gain even more time. Geisler gets a 3 second, a 5 second for Davin when he corner cuts. I don't quite know what just happened there, but that's not ideal. Nifo got that pressure, and then we have Quibus leading a train with Cisco right behind. DRS will be enabled. We do actually want to have another quick look at these two right now. Nifo leads the way, but they're going to have Jacob Adamjak get a first dose of DRS and their first opportunity to go for a move. It depends on who's been saving the ERS and who wants to save it now or later. Jacob closes, but he's not going to be able to do anything about it now, and that's David retiring from the session in the pit lane, and he will not be scoring any points once again. Jesse Persanen is now the only Red Bull, and they're in the pit lane right now as well. Dream just leaving the pit lane. I believe that must have been damage then, unfortunately. I think it was a Haas that collided with the Alpine of Wesley Caspers, and that's why they ended up DNFing. But of course these guys didn't change positions. Quibus maintains the lead of the train right here. Cisco maintains their second place in the train. Then we have Dougie Falcons in P6 as Robbo is trying their best to catch up to this train. They're almost there. They just need a little bit more time to gain. We've got Geisler in P8, 6 seconds behind, almost 7 seconds. behind the train ahead, and they've got trouble from Captain 4G, so they can't make any mistakes. Otherwise, they will get absolutely stormed. We've got Benjamin behind these guys, and then Sven Nydam trying to make his way back through the grid after a very, very rocky start. Not ideal for them. Rulaton in P12. Dream after the early pit stop. They're on the medium tyre, going to have to hope for a safety car, which is quite possible as Nifo goes fastest. Kasper Sky in P14. And then we have Jesse Prasanen, of course, making a very recent pit stop and rearing the grid, and Robbo goes into the pit lane. We're going to have a quick look at the details to see who's on what tyre, gaining positions, of course losing positions. Robbo is now going to be demoted quite a few times, pit stops for the bottom guys, and the current tyre situation is right now on your screen. Looks pretty much hard dominated. We have a 3-second for Geisler. That's it. I can't remember, somebody served a 5-second in the pit lane as Geisler does get passed by Captain 4G. They make the move, lovely stuff for them. Nifo is kind of catching Zingy here. There's a yellow, as that is the Williams of Robbo making a mistake. That's not a safety car, it's just a yellow sector, as that's a mistake there from Nifo, and a lovely run is possible here from Jacob Adenjak. That's another car retiring from the session in the pit lane. Jacob backs off, and he's not even going to try and send it to the inside. So he doesn't seem to be that confident. He's just trying to let Nifo use that battery, run it out, and then try and fight back a little bit later on and make sure that Nifo has nothing to actually try and regain the position. So very strategic here from Jacob. They are sacrificing a bit of time to gain to their teammate, of course, although Zingy isn't really escaping that much. ERS is pretty much zilch for Nifo. It's not really that much of an advantage for Jacob either. So they're actually trying hard to actually try and get past. They can't find a way through though, so I'm not quite sure. We'll have another look and see if their DRS or straight line speed is an advantage. Is it enough to actually catch up to Nifo? We will head on to the straight here. They're close, they're gaining, so they are looking for a pretty nice run with the DRS. On the inside line they go, and they're gonna take it. Tries to push Nifo wide. Nifo's still there. They maintain the gap. They're trying their best to keep their nose in, but that is Jacob taking the move just about, and he's now up to make it a Mercedes P1 and 2. Zingy now leads the way. A 2.1 second gap is his now new advantage. But his teammate's been unleashed, and Jacob Adenjak, of course, the fastest man in qualifying, is now looking to try and hunt down their teammate. They were actually 8/10 faster than their teammate in time trial, so that's something to consider. Cisco leaves the session while being in this great train right now. Dougie Falcon's going to get a free position. Cisco on that medium tyre, so that's really not ideal because they're going to lose a lot of time from this. So yeah, that's a strange position to be in, and yeah, that is the start phase of the race, kind of already sorted, but yeah, sorry a minute, I just need to sort something out. And we're good to go. Sorry for the delay. We're back in business. And let's get on with it. Alrighty, so Jacob Adenjak now 1.4 seconds. So they've gained about 6/10, I think, is that right? To the car ahead in the last lap or so. Maybe half a lap, I guess you could say. Now they're going to try and get within that DRS range because that'll help them a lot. Nifo is still right there, so dragging him along with himself. Just going to rejoin the session. Quibus 2.3 seconds behind these guys. You can see them in the distance, but they're not quite close enough to actually really get in the battle. Dougie Falcons now, he's got ahead of Cisco because Cisco, of course, lost all that time from the disconnect. Dougie Falcons is now 0.7 seconds behind Quibus. They have one car ahead of them, and that will make it a lot easier to overtake for them. So these guys are going to want to get through as soon as possible. These guys actually had quite a bit of a shindig back in Imola, so they've got a bit of a, I don't know if you'd say rivalry, I don't know what you'd say, but they've come together a couple times, and let's hope that they can keep it clean this time around. I'm sure they can. They're very good drivers, both of them. It's just a matter of how they try and get the move done. Bit of understeer for Dougie Falcons, but not too much to worry about. He will get that DRS to help him catch up to the cars ahead, of course. Not many people actually in DRS. These guys are the only ones to be so. Jacob not quite in the DRS either, but they're almost there. Quibus actually gets a 3 second for extending as they extend on the exit of turn 3 right there, so that's an interesting one. Turn 3, 4, I can't quite remember. I do know that this kink right here is turn 6 and the end of the DRS straight is turn 7. Dougie Falcons has the DRS, but it's not really an advantage. They're actually losing time to Quibus, so Quibus doing a very, very good job with the straight line speed at the moment. They're trying their best to catch up to the car ahead. Nifo's lost DRS range of Jacob, so that is them out of that one. Although, if, and looking at the gaps right now, when Jacob catches up to Zingy, those guys are going to be not slowing each other down, I think that's the wrong word, but they're going to be nice and close, and they won't be gaining as much time as they probably could if they really tried to push. So, yeah, Nifo will be able to gain a bit of time back after that one. But from a qualifying tyre penalty to get up to P3 after all of the chaos, they're doing a very good job right now. So well done to Nifo. We got, of course, the cars behind close together, but Dougie Falcons struggling in the straight lines compared to Quibus. They're definitely using a lower downforce setup, is Quibus. Now we see Jacob Adamjak once again not close enough to actually challenge their teammate. He leads the way and they maintain that lead, getting a really good start off the line. And that was Wesley Caspers, of course, on the inside trying to stick their nose in. It was very nearly contact. Later on in the lap it was unfortunately contact. Zingy wanted to maintain that lead. They were really adamant that they were going to get it. They did get it in the end, but at the cost of forcing their teammate to battle with us, Caspers, which didn't work out in the end. I don't want to comment on the incident, of course, until after the race. I would like to see a replay. But yeah, we'll have to see how that goes a little bit later on. Jacob Adamjak now within DRS range. They haven't got DRS yet, but they will have a very nice opportunity within the next few laps. It's not very strong in this game, so you do need a couple times to actually get close enough, unless you have a significant pace advantage in those corners. Jacob absolutely sends it, really feeling alive with these hard tyres as they go a little bit further on into the race, about lap 18 to 24 it says. I reckon 22, 23 these tyres will be lasting. So yeah, they're pretty consistent, and the more drivers spend time on them, usually they get more confident with the tyre and go faster later on into the race. The mediums, however, they're fast on lap 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, and then they start to die off after that one, or that kind of time period. But Jacob Adamjak gonna get their first opportunity very, very shortly. On to the start-finish straight they go. They're closing up a little bit more. Let's see what Zingy has to offer with the straight line speed and the defense, of course, as well. Is he going to fight his teammate hard? Jacob Adamjak has his first opportunity. Zingy's going to have to go defensive for the first time in this race, or first time in a while, I should say. No, he hasn't. He hasn't got to go defensive. He's not going to catch up enough. He is right there, though, so Zingy's got a bit more pressure on himself. We'll have to see if it affects things later on, but Jacob just has to try and keep it consistent and get in the mind of the Scotsman that is leading. Zingy hasn't won a race this season so far, and they would love to do it here. They need to get the ball rolling. Of course, two-time world champion and the double winner, Jacob, looking very, very close right there. but not enough. Will he have an opportunity here? Yes, he's pushing for it. He's going to have to go to the inside line. He sends it. And Zingy's going to have to back off. A switchback is possibly available, but no. Jacob's got it done. After all that, as you can see, Zingy weaves a little bit off the track, and he's not happy with what Jacob just did at all. He is not happy at all. He's thinking, if you're going to play it like that as a teammate, then I can play it like that. They don't want that to happen. With teammates, of course, he was giving him the outside line, expected him to take it, both in the Mercedes car, but Jacob doesn't seem to worry about that. Doesn't seem to worry that their cars are both silver. Turn item gets a time penalty, unfortunately. That might be a common occurrence for some drivers. It's definitely going to play a part into the final positions later on in the race. Nifo catches a bit of time up as these guys battle. Jacob leads the race for the first time since the pole position, of course, and they're catching up. No DRSs or ERSs available, or DRS for Jacob. So Zingy will be able to catch up a bit there, but it looked like Jacob's extremely quick in the corners, very, very confident. But you've got the two Masters of Singapore at the moment leading the Grand Prix. Masterclass at the moment, despite a little controversy that Zingy wasn't too happy about, of course. We have Quibus and Lucky Falcons, of course, staying together right here in P4 and 5, but they're not actually getting close enough to make a move, Lucky Falcons. Quibus does have that 3 second that we saw earlier on, but Lucky Falcons still needs to get through. It's not exactly like Quibus is slowing him down, though. The gap isn't like that. If you were 6-5, maybe 5 tenths, yeah, then it might be considered slowing them down, but an 8 tenths to 9 tenths to even a 1 second gap isn't really enough. We've got Nifo wheel burning, as the game likes to show us. But right now, we're good to go. Sven closing up to the back of Geisler as they're trying to make another move. Losing so much time, of course, off the start line, and they're just making it back slowly but surely. They haven't made a pit stop, so I don't know what happened. I don't know if they've even got damage. But yeah, really tight over the track limits. Wilson trying to have a go on the start-finish straight. It's a very unusual place to actually go for a move, unless it is lap 1, turn 1. But at the moment, they're just going to have to hold on, and they're probably going to have their best opportunity at the end of turn 7. The Geisler makes a bit of a mistake, but they're still good to go. Missing the inside curve just a little bit to try and get onto that throttle as smooth as possible. Geisler goes defensive to the inside line, and Sven will have a pretty straightforward move as they're ahead before the corners even begun, and they will take that position, no question about it. Not worth Geisler really fighting too hard at this stage of the race either. If he can gain time as well, might be able to gain a bit off the DRS. So Sven looking to try and catch this 12-second gap to Cisco. Cisco's tyres will be dropping off, and they'll have to pit some point between about lap 12 to 17, maybe 18 if they wanted to push it. But yeah, Sven is going to be looking to try and catch up to the rest of the field, but a 12-second gap, and actually 14-second gap to the cars ahead on the same strategy is a significant amount, as that's unfortunately, Geisler makes a mistake right behind as they miss their braking point, and that is unfortunately them going pretty deep into the corner. I guess you have to say. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're using no racing line, so they've just simply misjudged that one, and they're going to have to get back on track. Well, Cisco kind of in no man's land at the moment. You've got Zingy and Jacob. They're just sitting together right now, vibing at the front, looking at a pretty good result right here. Other than that, we're good to go. Jacob 6 tenths, and Zingy has been maintaining that gap. It hasn't really changed that much at all. So They're trying to start a comfortable rhythm here for the top two and secure a good result for the team. Of course, a safety car could come into play later on, but right now this would be possibly maximum points set from fastest lap, I would say. There's a lot of cars that will be looking for it at the back of the grid, of course. But, yeah, maximum points position-wise, at least. And that would give them a significant boost in the championship ahead of Haas, I believe it is, in second. And then we have AlphaTauri in third place, of course, Nifo and Dougie Falcons. A strong force. Quibus a very strong force of Dream, although Dream's had struggles, of course, pitting really early on, especially with a disconnect as well, losing them even more time, unfortunately. Lots of cars you can see in the background as these guys lead the way, trying their best to stay within. But right now it's very difficult. Sven isn't actually gaining that much time to the leaders, or to the cars ahead, I should say. We'll have to check it out later on. Captain Forgy actually managed to gain a position on Geisler. Geisler gets another 3 seconds, unfortunately. They've actually got Rouleton for pressure as well, so Rouleton wants to have a go of a move, trying to recover from the drive-through penalty that they had to serve. Let's see what the gap is between them and the race leaders, actually, because they would have lost about 20 seconds, maybe 25 seconds by making that long pit stop. So they're about 10 seconds behind if they didn't have that drive-through penalty. Very, very close between the two right here as Rouleton is ahead, but still Geisler tries to push him off. Rouleton's going to get another opportunity. To the inside line they'll go, as they do leave a bit of space, but a wheel bang with the wall for Geisler. No contact with Rouleton, and Geisler will have to give that position up. Rouleton through. I'm going to try and look at pushing towards the cars ahead. We have Dream in P11, of course, trying to recover from this one. Robbo in P12, and we have Castle Sky, followed by Benjamin at the back of the grid. Jacob Adojat leads the way, and Zingy is at risk of losing DRS. They managed to maintain it just about right now. It will help them catch up once again. But yeah, not ideal at all. Not ideal at all. Jacob gets a 3 seconds, so Zingy can definitely jump on top of this one. It looks like he might not have DRS here, so we'll have to see what's going on. Zingy doesn't have any ERS to play with, so it looks like maybe they're trying to push the catch back up to their teammate. But Jacob Radojak, let's see. Will they bring the game a level higher and extend this 3 seconds very, very quickly? Or is it going to be a deciding factor in this race later on? I don't quite know. But, yeah, what a plot twist right there. Jacob Adamczak got a time penalty, and it's not looking ideal for them at the moment. Nifo, almost 4 seconds, now 4 seconds behind the cars ahead. Not quite fast enough for the Mercedes, but they're still a lot faster than the rest of the field, and they're in a great position. Quibus, 7.7 seconds behind these guys. He can see Nifo ahead, but it's such a big gap, especially around a circuit there's so many corners, of course. Ducky Falcons, not 7 seconds behind, actually, I should say, because we're looking at the gap to the leader. Being a little bit silly right there. I do apologise for that one. I was trying to see if Sven is catching to the race leaders or not. It looks like they're maintaining the gap, I guess you could say. Maybe losing a bit to Jacob as he is pushing quite hard right now. We'll go back to the intervals and have a look. That's 7/10 for Dougie and Quibus. Wesley Caspers lose the session after their crash earlier on, of course. That is very, very unfortunate, and it will be investigated after the race. Yeah, wasn't ideal. Very, very strange incident to be in. We will be doing a full investigation later on. Disco takes the first pit stop. They're going to cause a bit of a reaction with the rest of the field, I guess. Of course, they'll find out that Cisco's kind of feeling that these tyres are dying off. Goes for the hard tyre. Cisco was a driver that you'd usually see opting for the hard tyre in the old game. And now they, of course, everybody goes onto the hard tyre in the new one. So looking to be on an equal playing field with the rest of the field in the new game tyre-wise with the hard tyre, but warming up those tyres, a bit of internet connection, which makes it look a little bit comical. But other than that, they're just going to try and get warmed up and then try and catch up to Rouleton. Benjamin retired from the session. That's just before the tunnel. Could that be a safety car? Yes, it is. It is a safety car. And all those drivers with time penalties now are going to be hating this. They're going to be absolutely hating it. It will give everybody a second opportunity, of course, but that's not ideal. This is brilliant for the medium tyre runners. They're going to be able to plonk on a fresh set of hards, or a set of hards at least. But everybody on the hards, it's a little bit early. It's a little bit early. It's not really enough to go on to the mediums. They're still going to opt for it, I guess. That's an interesting one to be in. They're going to have to double stack, so will Zingy lose the position to Nifo? Nifo's going to go for it. Everybody's probably going to react. I don't know if anybody's going to try and stay out. No, so far not. It's the case, and Nifo gets held up by the Mercedes letting go, and that might have just saved Zingy right there. It just did. It did. No, it hasn't. It hasn't. Zingy will maintain the position. What has gone on? I don't believe it. He did lose the position, not maintain the position, sorry. Nifo has now gained a position through the pit stops. This is heartbreak for Zingy. Brilliant news for Nifo. What about that? What about that? Nifo is now in P2. The safety car will be running. These guys are going to have to save their tyres like absolute madmen. Or women, of course. And yeah, that's not a good time for the safety car to be deployed. That was a very strange one. Cisco's looking in an alright position. They're going to be a lot faster later on into the race, of course. I did expect everybody to go a little bit longer onto the hards. Actually, though, Cisco pitting from the medium tyre onto the hards around laps 15, 16, maybe about 14, I can't quite remember. Looking at the laps right now and the amount of time we will spend under the safety car, I maybe take that back, because we could actually see this play out quite nicely. Everybody is going to be pretty much at the end of the tyre life. It depends who can save their tyres the best, of course, but we'll see. Nifo, Zingy both with no time penalties at the moment. We do have Jacob, Adam, Jack and Quibus with time penalties, but we'll go through the rest of the grid. Dougie Falcons in P5, Cisco, Sven Nydam now back in the battle after all this. They do unfortunately have a time penalty themselves, but they can still get a lot of time gained from this, of course. Captain Fortune P8, Rouleton will now recover from their drive-through at the start of the race in P9. And we have Geisler in P10. Bream also, after their disconnect and a bit of a scuffle at the start of the race, will be in P11. Then we have Robbo and Castle Sky back in this one. And yes, Casper Sky will be able to catch up. They're not going to be lapped like last race, so they will have a chance of going for points, of course. There's no higher tier drivers, so where you finish is where you finish. And currently, there'll be 3 drivers out of the points at this stage of the race if they finish where they are. Pretty self-explanatory. But what I'm trying to say is, at this stage, as long as you finish the race, it's not like you will score a point. Hopefully these guys can stay in the race and battle, of course. We would love to see that. Jacob leads the way. We will be probably going racing on the next lap, lap 18 out of 31. So that's just going to give us a little bit below halfway of the race to go, of course. Is that 13 laps? I'm trying to count. I'm trying to count that. 13 laps, I believe. No, it's not. It's not. It's 14 laps. Is it 13 or is it 14? You're gonna have to calculate for that for me, guys. I'm not clever enough for that. I do apologise. Alrighty. Believe it or not, this is the first safety car around the street circuit of this what's the word I'm looking for? Caliber. There you go. But yeah, we will be going racing at the end of this lap. Everybody's going to start warming up their tyres a little bit aggressively. Probably going to want to try and get some heat into those rears on these lovely hard tyres. Medium tyres, I should say. And yeah, waiting for that confirmation as we head to the final sector. It should be very, very soon. And there you go. Lovely stuff. Safety car in this lap. Jacob Adamczak will lead the way. Nifo in P2. He's going to be the one to react. We'll see how it goes. Got a time penalty to play with here. He's going to have to absolutely nail this restart. Safety car not in yet. They've got to wait for it to get into the pit lane, of course. The safety car limiter on the throttle will be right there, and it's going to be a struggle for everyone behind. But once that safety car does into the pit lane, they'll be good to go. They're just going to make sure that they don't go too early and catch themselves out. Safety car comes on the penultimate corner and now into the final corner to enter the pit lane. They can go anytime from now, and he's gone for it. Lovely and early. Awesome stuff right there. Everybody has to react. A great restart from Quibus compared to Zingy. Zingy drops back a little bit, but Quibus makes a mistake, I think, trying to warm up their tyres as they struggle. So does Sven. Lots of people trying to warm up their tyres at this stage just because they can get it in. No one's really close enough to be that considered as weaving. But right now, that is a lovely restart from Jacob. Very solid. And 7/10 gap that he has to the rest of the field. Nifo in P2. We've got Zingy in P3, maintaining the position. Nobody really fighting, actually. No, it is Cisco and Sven. Sven goes to the inside line. Going to try and send it on the inside. There's contact as they lose the position. And, oh, that was very interesting as that's Cisco trying to hold the position, but it's not going to be possible as that is Captain 4G making the move. Ruleton going to try and get on into this action as well. Of course, Cisco has that hard tire, so no one really wants to sit behind them. He actually gets another 3 seconds after that one, but Sven going very deep into that corner, not even making the corner themselves. They might be in a bit of trouble. I can't quite say until after the race. I don't know if it was hard racing or if that was just a little bit naughty, but it is what it is. And yeah, that is almost the first lap of the restart done. We've got Cisco still trying to hold on to this position. Ruleton right behind. They're followed by a train of cars. So Cisco, the longer he stays ahead, the better for him, but the worse for everybody else, because there's going to be a gap between the rest of the field. And there's going to be no DRS to help them. Jacob goes for a fastest lap. Lovely stuff for them. And Ruleton can't find a way through at the moment. They're just not in a good position to actually get anything done. They're really going to have to try and secure a good exit onto the DRS straight, even though the DRS won't be available just yet. So really got to make the use of the faster tyre. You can see the apex speed is there. Will they have the top speed to do so? They have the grip to give them the initial advantage. ERS is available. They want to have the inside line, but it's not possible. They're going to try and get a switchback done. They now have the outside line as they head into turn 8, but it's not enough as he has to back off. Cisco does a legal squeeze. And yeah, Ruleton in the McLaren, not able to get through right now. Everybody else behind, stuck in the train. And look at the gap between the rest of the field, 3.2 seconds now. We're going to go back to the race leaders as Jacob Adamczak has now broken away. No DRS will be available here for Nifo. And Zingy isn't going to be too happy with that one, of course. But they will have a very good opportunity at getting past Nifo, of course, without the double DRS. The DRS will be available on the next lap, so it's just a matter of time. Quibus going to try and stay in this train because that'll be absolutely mega for them, and it might even allow them to catch or break away, I should say, from Dougie Falcons. Quibus with such a high straight line speed setup, they would be an absolute weapon. They just need to be close enough into the corners. They'll gain a lot of time right here, and it would mean it would be extremely difficult for Dougie Falcons to keep with the guys ahead, and Sven might have a good opportunity That is Quibus very close, and they're going to look for the DRS for the first time in a while. Looking good for Quibus right now. Zingy will have not the opportunity. It's not going to be possible, as that is Nifo. No, Nifo doesn't have the DRS. Quibus looking to gain a lot of time here. Gains about a tenth or maybe two as they head into the end of the DRS straight. Dougie Falcons not going to be in DRS range if they're not careful. Sven Idem could look at a golden opportunity, but they're really struggling to get up the field at the moment. 4G still leads the way as that's guys that are trying to fight Rouleton. They're not trying to wait for Rouleton to make a calculated move, and they're both into the wall. Geisler out of the race, and Rouleton loses their front wing. I don't believe what just happened. What just happened? Onto the mini straight as they try and make their way side by side, and once again the game physics screw us over. Now it brings out another full safety car that's going to allow everybody to catch back up. I don't think we'll see anybody go to the pit lane. If we really wanted to go for the softs, we could do, but I would say it would be a good opportunity to stay out on these mediums and just make them last a little bit longer for the peak performance. But what on earth just happened? What on earth just happened? They're staying out. They're staying out. Is anybody going to risk it to go into the pit lane for a set of softs this early on? I don't quite know. Cisco might be one too. Is he going to try it? I don't know. Robbo might have a look here. Yes, they will. Robbo's going to be the only one looking for the set of soft tyres. Rouleton, he doesn't really have a choice. He's going to have to go for it. Casper Sky, they're going into the pit lane. I don't know if they got damage from the guys ahead or if they're just going to try and take the gamble here, of course, at the back of the grid. So they've not really got anything to lose and a lot to gain from this. So, yep, just going to go into the pit lane. They don't have a front wing to change. They're just plonking on those soft tyres. Interesting bug there, but it is what it is. Rouleton opts for the old hard tyres, weirdly. That's a weird one. Rouleton opting for the hards. I mean, he's going to be very consistent to go to the end, so there's no question about that. But, yeah, he could be in an interesting situation, pace-wise, for the rest of the field. Cisco and Dream, of course, will be on hards, but they're on a lot fresher hards. So, Rouleton might have to go for a second pit stop here. We've only just caught up to the safety car, so they will have an opportunity. And that might actually be what the entire field is doing. It depends on what Jacob does, of course. Would they go for the softs? Obviously, everybody would want to react the same, and if somebody does pit ahead, the other guys will try and take the gamble to not pit. The advantage if you pitted a little bit later would be that you would be on a lap fresher softs, but I don't know. I don't know what would happen. I don't know what's going to happen. That was a interesting crash, but I think I know what happened. They made slight contact. The game physics poured them into the wall. It's a classic one. It's just the way it goes, unfortunately, when two drivers are way too close together, side by side on the straight. Is anybody going to opt for the pit lane? No, no, no. No one's going into the pit lane right now. Leading the way is Jacob, and he's the one to start the catalyst, but he doesn't opt for it. Somebody's going into the pit lane. Who's that? That is Cisco and Robbo. Robbo's going for a second pit stop, interestingly. Then we have Cisco, of course, leading the way. He's on the hard tyre, so he just wanted to opt for that soft tyre a little bit later on, and that's damage, actually, for Robbo. Not for Cisco, but I don't know what happened to Robbo. Was that contact with... I don't think it was. Could have been contact with Casper. No, it was contact with somebody up ahead. I guess that might have been contact with the rear of Cisco. But Cisco will now be back on track with pretty fresh softs, and so will Robbo. Rouleton did go for a second pit stop back onto the hards that they were already on. Mediums that are already on, sorry. And they'll have consistent pace for the rest of the race, so they'll be good to go. But other than that, that's going to be their last pit stop. Ideally, for everyone, this is their last pit stop, of course, and we can just get a clean race to the end. Jacob Adjak is not going to be happy. He was trying to hope to extend the time penalty range that he currently has, but it's looking less and less likely. Zingy also, he wanted to try and get past Nifo, but he has been denied that, and he's going to have to wait a little bit longer. So, Nifo, could they look at their first win here, or would Zingy manage to find a way? Zingy always finds a way. We'll have to see. Maybe even Jacob Adjak would escape the time penalty. We never know. We never know. Waiting for the confirmation to go in. I reckon it's going to be a late restart from the game. I'm going to take the opportunity to get the report code, and I'm also going to take the opportunity to turn off the graphics, the particles, because the lockups are absolutely atrocious from the game. Will we get the safety car coming in this lap? Not yet. Might look for a late call, and there you go. As expected, I knew it was going to happen. The late call is here. Safety car in this lap. Ruleton does rear the grid now, and Jacob Adjak leads the way for the second time, and it is Nifo who will react for the second time as well. The top 3, top 4, top 5 hasn't changed at all. Let's see, when's he going to go for it? Doesn't go for it just yet, doesn't go for it just yet. And not yet still. Really trying to leave it as late as possible. Now he's gone for it, and they're both right there. He's really, really close. Not going to be able to challenge into turn 1, but they're so close, and there's battles behind as Quibus goes defensive to Ducky Falcons. Ducky Falcons was getting challenged by Sven as well. Sven's right there trying to get involved in the action. Is anybody going to be able to go for a move this early on? I don't quite know. Zingy's really close. There's a crash at the back as Ruleton makes a mistake, and Robbo also having a bit of an issue, losing position. Don't quite know what happened there. Nifo having a look, really trying to give it everything, because this is their best opportunity, but they can't risk to lose the position to Zingy. Zingy doesn't have a time penalty, and Sven makes a mistake. He's going to get challenged by the cars behind, but he maintains the position just about. He will have a second life to catch up. And what a restart as Ducky Falcons is trying their best to get past Quibus, but Quibus once again seems to have the advantage, and now with their DRS or straight line speed advantage, it's going to be extremely difficult for them to actually gain anything. We've got Zingy wanting to get through, but it's not possible yet. It's just not possible. They're really gut-wrenching right now. It's so difficult to get through. And it's not like they're close enough to go for a send, so they need to wait for that DRS. At the moment, Nifo is looking to stay in the DRS of Jacob. Jacob isn't extending as we go for this second restart. They are extending, but not by as much as they were before, of course. It did help Nifo that he got a very good restart. And it was a late call in from the safety car. The DRS, I should say, won't be enabled this lap, but will be good to go very, very soon with DRS. Will Nifo hold on? That's the question. 8 tenths is the gap, 9 tenths. I don't know if it's going to be possible. ERS is draining pretty quickly, whereas Zingy right behind, he's not exactly close either, and he can be challenged by Quibus if he's not careful, so that's going to be an interesting one. Quibus will be right there, so looking in a good position at the moment. Lucky Falcons holding on behind. Sir Nydam is catching back up to the cars ahead, and we've got the two teammates switching positions. What the hell just happened there? Taking a very weird inside line, not really making too much effort to brake. That was a weird one. Losing their front wing, that will allow Dream to catch up, and they're going to be one position away from a point position. Don't know what happened to Dream, but even after that restart, it just wasn't good enough, and that is a safety car. Another full safety car. That's very weird. Surely we're going to get some people opting for that soft tyre now. Surely we're going to get people opting for the soft tyre. Jacob, he might not want to go for it. Nope, he is going to go for it. He is going to go for it. Nifo decides not to. Everybody behind is going to react to that one and decide not to. That is a major headache that Jacob will have. Quibus wants to go for the soft tyre. So they're going to follow this guy. Cisco going to try and get a fresher set on. So is Robbo. Ruleton also will be able to catch back up. Captain 4G after losing their front wing. Dream also now on the hard tyres at the moment. They'll be able to catch back up as well. 3-lap-old tyres for Cisco, but no, they're back onto a fresh set. And 1-lap-old tyre goes Robbo. He's already used every set, so he's just going to have to go on a slightly older tyre. Dream will plonk on that sauce. We've got the top 4 all on medium tyres. Sven, the only medium tyre runner with a time penalty. Everybody else is on soft tyres. We do have a couple penalties behind. Let's have a quick look at the time penalties as well. We have a 3-second for everyone actually. Sven, Jacob, Quibus and Casper Sky all with those 3 seconds, which will plague them on the final few laps of the race as we get to, I hate to say it, a sprint race to the end of the Singapore Grand Prix. It was extremely chaotic back in Imola. Sorry for the light touch. And it's going to be very, very difficult for Singapore. So both very difficult circuits to overtake at. This one, however, has just got some very close walls that if you do make a mistake, you are going to be punished. We'll have to see how it goes. Positions gained overall. I'll have a quick look. Pit stops, of course, actually will say. 5 pit stops for Robbo, taking the most pit stops right now. Only 1 for the top 4, so they're really trying to make this work. Position changes, as I was going to say, Dougie Falcons 12 positions after starting near the back of the grid. Nifo 6 positions, doing a really good job right there. Unfortunately, Jacob losing 4, but that is because he's made that strategy call, of course. We're not going to be going racing at the end of this lap. Not everyone's close enough, but we will be going racing at the end of the next lap. So we'll have to see how that goes, of course. We'll be on lap 26. So we're going to start lap 27, 8, 9, 30, 31. We're going to have a 5-lap sprint race to the end. That will be an interesting one for sure. No questions asked. We will have to have a quick... I don't know why I said quick. We're gonna... Not what we will. Or we will. Okay, I just need to stop talking, honestly. We're gonna turn off the tyre situation. We're just gonna look at the gaps. Of course, we can't get rid of the time penalties, so we're just gonna look at the gaps. We'll have this to our advantage, of course, but just gives us a little bit less cluster on the screen. Let's go through the grid. Nifo is leading the Grand Prix on lap 26 out of 31. Zingy will be in P2. We have Dougie Falcons in P3. Sven Nydam, Jacob Elmzak, Quibus, Casper Sky, Cisco, Ruleton, Robbo, Dream, and Captain 4G at the back of the grid. Everyone, except from the top 4, is on a fresh set of softs. The top 4, however, are all on about 9-lap-old, 10-lap-old medium. So they're going to be 11 laps old when they cross the line to start the race again. It's the last time we will look at that, of course. So, yeah, good old information to see. And Nifo will lead the way. The safety car is on its way back in for the 3rd and hopefully final time of the Grand Prix. Nifojan will now lead the way for the first time of this race. The top 3 consist of 2 AlphaTauris instead of 2 Mercedes. Plot twist, Zingy will now be sat in P2, the one to react to Nifojan, who's going to be trying their best to juke everyone. However, they do have the master of safety car restarts right behind them, so it's going to be hard to shake Zingy off. We'll see what happens. Safety car not in the pit lane yet. Just about. There you go. We can go any time from now. When's it gonna happen? And he's gone for it. Lovely stuff. A bit of a mistake, and he's lost the run. He's lost the run. I don't believe it. Ziggy will catch up a little bit, but that was a very good run from Niffo, but it was just compromised a lot, as that's Sven Nydam trying to have a look on the inside of Dougie Falcons. They know that they've got the soft tyre army coming behind them, and they just need to try and hold on. But no, here comes Jacob Adamczak on the inside already. The benefit of that soft tyre is showing right on the restart. Awesome stuff for Jacob, as he's going to make the move. As that Quibus right behind, who wants to have a go as well. I think he might have to hold on, but no, he's going to try and push it around the outside. Might have a go on the brakes here if Sven's going to be compromised by Jacob, but no, they're going to have to sit behind and wait. Sven eating up off the restart there, and Jacob's going to try and get past Dougie Falcons as soon as he possibly can, of course. But Quibus looking quick. They just need to try and have a move sooner rather than later. Are they really going to try and risk it? Yes, they are, into the hairpin. Having to back out, but forcing a little bit of space as Sven gets a bad run, and Quibus will make the move. Defends to the inside to try and secure it. Outbreaks himself. Sven will have another opportunity to go again, but I think he's just going to have to hold off. The tyre difference is just too significant, at least at this stage. The soft tyre runners will drop off very, very hard towards the end, but we'll have to see how it goes. Looks like we have a bit of a glitch in the matrix with one AlphaTauri, one Mercedes, another AlphaTauri, and another Mercedes. What's going to happen? Could we see Jacob Adamczak getting a move on the start-finish rate for the first time in 7 million years? Not going to happen right now, but it was worth a possible look with the advantage that he has. And he taps the back of, what is he doing? Taps the back of Dougie Falcons. I don't know if that's desync, but that was really weird. Just completely slams into the back of him. Dougie Falcons goes aggressive, actually going to put Jacob in the wall. These guys are just pushing each other around. What? What just happened? Sven gets collected by all of that. Many drivers were affected. Another safety car is deployed, but we're only going to be going for one lap, so it's not worth making a pit stop. Sorry? What just happened? Niffo will lead the way once again. We're gonna be going racing at the end of lap 29, so everybody's gonna try and make a pit stop if they need to make a pit stop, and yeah, hope that they can catch back up to the grid. But what a mess. What a mess that was. Niffo, Zingy leads the way. These guys were doing a great job earlier on, and they'll have another opportunity to escape. Quibus with a time penalty. They're in a good position, but they still are not happy with the amount of safety cars that have been happening right now. Pretty crazy so far. Pretty crazy so far. Alrighty. Sorry for the delay. Just need to check a couple things. Got many drivers into the pit lane. Sven, of course. Dougie Falcons. Is he looking to not? Is Jacob Adamczak retiring from the session? I guess Dougie Falcons, did he not get damaged? No, he's got an end plate gone. But he's still going to try and keep in the race. He didn't want to go to the pit lane, which is an interesting strategy for him, because we will be going racing at the end of this lap. Not quite sure what they were trying to do, but yeah, interesting situation to be in. And we'll have to see how this goes later on. Alrighty, Niffo will lead the way, just waiting for the confirmation. We'll head to Sector 3, and there it will be. Sven is actually very far away, I have to say. So maybe that was a good call from Dougie Falcons after all. The cars will be very, very slow. Of course, they're going to be limited for a long time. The safety car does a whole sector, which is a very long sector to get through. So he will be able to catch up a lot of time. He's going to be absolutely rapid as well. Don't know what tyre he's got on. Have a quick look. Not that one. We'll go for this one. He is on the fresh to the soft. So he's going to look for fastest lap if he can't look at catching up to the field. He should be alright. He's got a bit of a straight to get through. So he might be good here. Let's just pray that he can get back into this race. We will be once again going for the restart of the Singapore Grand Prix. Zingy will lead the way. Not lead the way. He'll be in P2 as Nifo will lead the way for the second time running. There's going to be one lap of DRS at the very end to try and deal with, which is going to be extremely difficult for Zingy to get through with, of course, as everybody saves a maximum ERS. When will Nifo go for this restart? Looking to have a look maybe early. They straighten up the car. Zingy reacts. They're going to go for it now. And Zingy was there to react, but he's not that close, I will admit. As Nifo gets a lovely restart. Anybody behind going to try and challenge? Ruleton has a look to the inside of the Alfa Romeo as Quibus loses the position off the start. A 3 second for Robbo, interestingly. But what the hell just happened to Quibus on the restart of that one? Goes to the inside line, does Quibus, but it's not enough, and I think Yor just about keeps it together. And Ruleton is up into P4 with no time penalties as well. They're looking at a podium. From a drive-through penalty to a podium. This is a heck of a drive from Ruleton to get back into this. Of course, it's helped a lot with the safety cars, but Quibus tries to send it on the inside. He doesn't want to let the position go. Maybe his time penalty isn't legit. Maybe he just wants to try and get ahead of Kaspersky, but he's not happy. The top two, they have a bit of a gap between them. Nifo seems to be pushing early. They're going to try and push early with the ERS, and Zingy may be opting to push a little bit later on. We've got Kaspersky with the soft tyre. He doesn't really have that much of a reason to fight Zingy. He'll only lose time to the rest of the field if he does, and compromise Zingy himself. So Kaspersky is currently sitting in probably his final position. He's just got to hope that Ruleton doesn't get close enough to slow him down as well. We'll have to see, but Ruleton will want to get past for safety reasons, but they will get past anyway with DRS. Quibus looking so quick, but too quick, that they're not able to get through. They're just making too many mistakes. I don't know what's going on. Sven is actually back into the points after all of this. Quibus looking very, very close, but it's not enough. Cisco's right there, as that's Dream going slightly defensive on Sven, but nothing to really worry about right now. Captain Forgy gets another 3 seconds, and that's going to be extremely difficult for them to actually challenge when it comes to crossing the line. And we are on the final lap. My bad. No DRS will be available. Nifo is looking for a possible victory here. Zingy is way too far behind. He's pushed on ERS as well. Nifo actually does manage to get it. I thought Zingy was saving for the final lap, but he wasn't. He was pushing. Nifo is leading the race by 9/10 with ERS to spare at this stage of the race. Wow, indeed, gets a bit of a moment as he's pushing his hardest. Don't bottle it now. He's really got to try and hold on. Just a final sector to go as he gets to the end of the DRS straight, and he'll be good to go. Zingy catches by 3/10. 4/5. He really needs to send it here, but it's not enough. He's not going to be close enough. Everybody else behind, they're not close enough either. Quibus sliding across the track as he pushes as hard as he can. Sven is in the battle right here. They want to try and get ahead of Dream and Cisco, but it's not worth it. There's contact! There's contact at the end! I don't believe it, but it doesn't matter. Nifo, the final few corners, and he's going to come across the line to be a winner in LSI. Nifo wins the Singapore Grand Prix. After all the odds, he's done it. Zingy P2, and then we have Zingy Ruleton into P3 after all of that as well. Cisco, Dream, Kaspersky, Quibus in P7. Sven drops down to P9 as Quibus and gets to P7 after all, and Kaspersky into P6. Wow, what a race that was. Sven P9, Captain 4G in P10, and Robbo will finish out of the points. What just happened? Wow, there's a lot to go through after that one. I still can't take it away from this guy. What a drive he has done. Ruleton gets the drive of the day. That's very well deserved as well for him. But Nifo is the man to watch. He's just taken the win for the Singapore Grand Prix. And that is absolutely incredible. Well deserved from this guy. He wins for the first time. That is legendary. Nifo wins the Singapore Grand Prix, Zingy in P2, and then we have Ruleton in P3, followed by Cisco P4, Dream, Kaspersky, Quibus, Dirty Falcons, then Idom in P9, and Captain 4G in P10. We got Robbo in P11 finishing off the order, and then DNFing with the fastest lap was Jacob, followed by Geisler, Benjamin, Jesse Passanen, Davin, and Wesley Caspers earlier on in the race. And then we skim through the race director just in case later on, and I think we might have to, unfortunately. But other than that, we'll be back for the post-race interviews, and we will see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome back to LSI F1 Championship. We're today for the post-race interviews of the Singapore Grand Prix. That was a hectic one for sure. Many safety cars, many crashes, many walls to be seen, many front wing changes to be done. I don't know, I've forgotten the word. Anyway, we start the interviews with Cisco. Cisco, pretty good start to the race, I have to say. You're really in the fight. Unfortunately disconnected later on, and that pretty much screwed everything from there on, and the safety cars didn't exactly help you. Can you take us through that one?
Yeah, the start was actually quite amazing because I was starting on the mediums and I managed to get a good start and made like 5 positions in the first lap.
Oh,
and it was all going pretty good. Then my game crashed. But I lost like 4 seconds, so it wasn't that bad. And I still had like a 12-second gap behind me, so it was okay. And the strategy was quite working. And then the first safety car came out, and I just couldn't do anything because I needed to pit for hards, and everyone pitted for mediums, and it was quite hard to keep up with the guys.
Yeah.
And then the end was like absolute chaos, like with the 4 safety cars or something. It was just. Yeah.
I'll have to look into this afterwards, and yeah, it definitely needs to be fixed, so I do apologise for that. But yeah, that first safety car definitely didn't help at all, but you still did really well. My speech? You did really well at the beginning, so that's really good to see. Japan is the next one. I don't know what the weather will be like. Let's just say it's dry. Do you like Japan?
I love Japan. It's an awesome track, but unfortunately I won't be able to race next week, which is a shame because I was really.
Then? Which one is that? I'm trying to think. It is Hungary. You like that one?
Oh yeah, my favorite.
Let's go.
I'm not really fast in Hungary, but I really like to drive there and race there, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Can't wait to see you in Hungary. Well done today. One last question. How do you describe your race in 3 words?
Just avoiding chaos.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Today.
See ya.
And we move on to Geisler. Sorry for absolutely destroying the pronunciation of your name, but today it was pretty difficult. Am I correct in saying you're using no racing line?
Yeah, for 6 weeks now.
Jeez. There was a moment that you had, I think you were behind a car and you missed a braking point, but still, I respect that definitely. Just learning as well. That's really well done. Unfortunately, your race was ended early, not the way you wanted it to. I think it was just a bit of a game physics kind of thing. But before that, were you happy with the pace?
It was a mediocre race. I was just really inconsistent, but that's not weird if I'm only 6 weeks without line. And yeah, really mediocre. Hit a wall at some point in turn 3, and then just had a lot of oversteer, and hit the wall somewhere else again, which just didn't help the pace.
Yeah.
But luckily, the first safety car helped me with that.
Yeah. Just a bit of a confidence boost when you, knock when you hit the wall. But yeah, safety car definitely helped and got you back into it. But if you're going to be racing next week, Japan, do you like the circuit?
Yeah, I do like the circuit. I haven't driven it yet without line, but for what I see, I do like it. It's a really old school circuit, and I love old school.
Yeah, it'd be really good to see. You there. I hope it goes well. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
There was murder.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you.
And we move on to Quibus. Quibus, that was some very, very good straight line speed. It didn't go to plan with the time penalties. You had the pace for a podium, maybe even better, but with the time penalty, are you happy with that result?
No. Shit, actually. No, I was going for a good position, but then I got some penalty, track limit, which wasn't really that's necessary. It was a little bit between the lines still. And then another warning, so I can't get it removed as well. And then in the end, I was in a okay position, but then you had 4 safety cars in a row, which really I couldn't get that gap to work. And then I tapped for a second and I lost 3 positions on the safety car, so that also didn't help really. So overall, in the end, I got stuck behind someone, and that's how I got this position. It's not great.
Yeah, that losing positions in yacht top isn't ideal, of course. I definitely agree. The safety cars just makes it extremely difficult because, of course, you gain all that time to try and catch up and overtake the cars ahead, and it's immediately taken away from you. But still, the pace, the straight line speed was amazing. Definitely a compromise in the corners, but you were definitely in the fight. I think, was it the penultimate safety car, not the last one, but the one before, if I remember correctly? I can't quite remember. My memory doesn't go back that far. Japan, do you think you can do well there? Maybe even bring a low downforce setup there as well, if you dare.
Well, I didn't really have a low downforce setup here. I just used 50-47 or something, so it's not really low.
Oh, really?
But
Okay.
I had a pretty high front ride height, which for some reason in the game makes you quicker on a straight. But I couldn't take curbs at all. It would just shove my whole car away. But Japan, yeah, I don't know. Those curbs are really killing. You'll slide away when you touch one, so I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, gonna take a bit of practice. One last question. How do you describe your race in 3 words?
A big shit show.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you.
And we move on to Sven. Sven, I don't really know what to say. You had a very, very tough race. You're spending the beginning of the race trying to recover. The safety car brought you back into it. You make positions, and then, yeah, it just went downhill. Do you think you made the right move to make that pit stop?
Yeah. Well, at the end, I did everything wrong, I think, but my expectations were low, and this went even beyond. I got shunted off 6 times in the whole race, so I was quite annoyed at the end. But yeah, I think I did what I can, but the safety cars didn't help at all, because when I got annoyed, I got penalties and I fucked up myself, and well, I couldn't get the gap down. But well, what I said, I didn't expect anything from this race, but it went beyond.
Yeah, that is a shame, but you still scored points, so that helps.
Well, I'm not sure, but let's see.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I guess, yeah, we'll have to see. Japan, the next one, it's not a street circuit, and it's got some difficult curves, but not as chunky, I guess you could say. Do you think you can do better than you did today?
Well, it's at least a little bit more consistent with the curbs. In this circuit, you can take the curb sometimes yes and sometimes no. And in Japan, some curbs you can't take and some curbs you can. So, and I like the circuit. It's a little bit more flowing. I can't get a flow in those street circuits. So, yeah, I have more hopes there, but.
So you're a fan of the high-speed corners?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I need a flow in a circuit, and I can't find it in those circuits.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a terrible shame what happened today, and all I can say is I'm sorry for that. We'll have to look at it later on. But one last question: how would you describe your race in 3 words?
Well, first, you can't help it, but yeah, like I said earlier already. If someone has such a shit internet, they just can't race in a league race, because either they don't see us or we don't see him. So,
yeah.
But well, second answer is fix the game.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you.
And we move on to Zingy. Zingy, it was so close. It was so close. You had the lead for a while, but it just didn't happen in the end. Are you still happy with the result, or did you want more?
Well, yeah, I wanted more, but I'm absolutely buzzing, mate. I am sitting there sweating like mad. I have never been so concentrated during a race in my life, and I cannot tell you how relieved I am to stop driving for once.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
It was a tough race. You were pushing. There was a lot. Well, there wasn't any ERS left. what was it? I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind. Okay, apparently we're moving on to the Japan. For a controller player, I think I know what you're going to say. Do you like the circuit?
Well, contrary to your belief, I'm going to say yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Because unlike what Sven said, I can hook it up anywhere. No, I'm not trying to insult Sven, but I know the way. It's called the Benjamin way.
Fair enough. Well, sorry that I forgot my questions, but
Oh, for goodness sake, Aaron.
Thank you very much. Well, last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
I love Singapore.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today. And we move on to the legend himself, Nifo. You have done it. You are an LSI winner. How about that? Did you expect that?
I didn't. After qualifying, where I kind of got... I didn't get blocked. I just got, like, dirty air farted right in front of a hairpin and just got distracted. So I messed my lap up a little bit. Then P7, you know, it's Singapore, so... I mean, if people spin in front of you, you're dead. Like, you can't overtake that well, so I was not expecting it. Then the chaotic start just helped me a bunch. I was up into P2, like after lap 2 or something.
Yeah.
So that helped massively. And then just pushing, and Jacob and Zingy were so fast on the hard tire. I was like, man, I'll just bag the podium. I was just managing the race, just looking that Queebus wasn't gaining behind me, and just trying to maintain the gap but not push too hard. Then the safety car came, and I got lucky. Or actually, Ziggy got unlucky because Jacob pitted and he had to wait, so I overtook him in the pit lane.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I don't know, I feel kind of bad for Ziggy. I think he could have won if that didn't happen. But I guess it did, so I guess I'm lucky. And then just on the medium side, I had some good pace. Just try to push, and then all the safety car came, so I was like, oh no, I'm going to get it wrong once. Because you know me with safety cars in the last laps, I really... You know, I always mess it up. But I didn't spin finally, so finally I won.
Yeah.
But this feels great. I haven't won in such a long time, so yeah, it was great.
No, you deserve it. It was a great race. You scared me a little bit on the last lap because I saw a bit of a loosey-goosey moment, but you're all good to go, and you have got it done. Well done. I can't really say much more, but that was absolutely amazing. So yeah, well done. One last question. How would you describe your race in 3 words?
Finally, we won.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you very much.
We've got a bit of a late to the party interview right here. Ruleton, you've managed to get a podium from a drive-through penalty into P3. Wow.
Yes. So as you said, drive-through penalty in the start. I don't really know why. I think it was because I saw a car ghost in front and just, I don't know, muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
Then I did the drive-through, just like did like 15 laps as a loner on hards. Pitted at the safety car, which was like the thing I was waiting for, because there's like Singapore, it's gonna be a safety car.
Mm-hmm.
Kept going. I think I crashed. I don't know. It was a Ferrari I crashed with, so I had to pit again. But then there was a safety car, so it was all good. Then there was another safety car. I pit onto the softs, and I think the thing I was most happy about was that I didn't get any warnings, which helped me get the podium. It was still kind of undeserved because like everyone in front of me was crashing, but yeah.
I mean, you stayed out of it in the end, and you managed to get it done. So I wouldn't necessarily undeserved. I'd say definitely helped by others' misfortune, but still, I wouldn't say it would be undeserved.
Plus, I had 2 time trial laps of practice and got a setup from Jacob.
Fair enough. On to Japan. If you're going to be there, do you like the circuit more?
I like it. Definitely like it more this game than last year's game, but still, I haven't driven it that much. But I think it's gonna be fun because it's like I have done like 1 league race in Japan ever.
Fair enough. Well, one last question: how do you describe your race in 3 words?
Most undeserved podium.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Well done today.
Thank you.
And that's been it for the post-race interviews. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We'll be back tomorrow for the Singapore Grand Prix for the F1.5 Championships, and we'll be back next weekend for the Japanese Grand Prix. Also Tuesday, of course, for the practice sessions. Other than that, thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure, and good night.